At long last, finally. Okay, so today's topic are the lungs. First, I want to give you just a shot. I think most of you all are familiar, but just to kind of make sure everybody's on the same page, a good look at your lungs here on the screen. Pretty massive, I think. And what's interesting is because of the positioning of our heart in the front, the ventral portion of our body, the majority of our lungs actually takes up like the back of our body, the back space, the posterior body. Pretty interesting. And I also want to show you, let's see, I want to show you another. I kind of swiped these two, bear with me. I swiped these two from Shutterstock. So no screenshots of this, but I swiped these two from Shutterstock or Vectroshock rather. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what my teacher, Tias, has this really nice spiel about the lungs being like a tree. They resemble an upside down tree. If you look at this graphic on the left, where the roots of the tree are actually located around the upper palate. The trunk is your windpipe, right? Or your trachea, and the branches extend into the lobes of your lungs. There are a multitude of twigs and branches over here called bronchioles that stem off the main trunks to the right and left bronchi, and the bronchioles split again and again and again, terminating at these superfine porous membranous tips that are called alveoli. So this is where like the exchange of gases and oxygen and all that good stuff takes place. And I don't want to dive too much into anatomy and physiology, but I want to give you the visual of your lungs as a tree being upside down. And then if you look over here at this graphic on the right, here's an interesting concept of your lungs as an elemental map of your body. So consider earth, water, fire, and space, the 4 of the 5 elements. And if we map out these 4 primary elements schematically onto the lung, we see the lower lobes, the inferior, the low lobes being earth and water. The middle lobes would be fire, and the upper lobes as air or air and space. And so since the earth element is associated with the inferior or the low lobes, guiding your breath into that lower lobe helps to settle and deepen your respiratory rhythm, right? So simply breathing into the middle chest or the upper chest or the upper lung is going to increase fire and increase wind, and that can result in restlessness, busyness, and activity. Panicky and agitated feelings can cause the breath to flutter up into the upper chest, up into the upper lobes of our lungs. So we're going to start by sensing deep into our breath, and we're going to start up top and take our breath down through the mid lobes and then into the lower lobes. In our practice today, when we think of liberating our lungs, we have to also take into great consideration our rib basket. We've got to be able to, if we want to really be able to broaden and expand our lungs with every breath that we take, then having a mobile and somewhat pliable rib basket and thoracic spine is going to be part of that equation, going to be a critical piece of that. So let's begin. Grab your strap, and I want you to sit in a comfortable shape on your mat, whether that's cross-legged or sit up on your block. And you also have I didn't say this at the beginning, you have a stool or a chair. I'm just using this little stool, and you can use a chair. If you've got one, you can use an ottoman. We're going to do that at the end of class. We're going to use it at the end of class. But right now, if it's comfortable for you, you'd rather sit on a chair. That's absolutely fine. And what I want you to do is grab your strap and open it up, take it behind you, and draw it all the way up to your underarms. All the way up to your underarms. If you don't have a strap, you can always use a belt, you can use a necktie. Okay. So the strap is way up high. Good. And then if it's comfortable for you to close your eyes, please do. And you're going to hold on to your strap at both ends. Not tight, but not loose. I want you to find that right amount of just right effort, just right tension where when you inhale, you feel your ribs, your muscles, your skin expand out and make contact with your strap. Not holding so tight as to inhibit our breath. But just tight enough to feel that connection. And right now, just navigating or directing your breath into your strap, so fairly high up your back. Invite your side ribs to move into your strap, your back ribs to move into your strap. I'm going to have you slide your strap down just an inch or two, right about bra line at this point. So visualize that you're at your middle lobes of your lungs. Lungs are divided into 3 lobes, except for the left is 2. The left only has 2 to make room for the heart. And same deal. Drawing in deeper breaths. And coaxing your breath to your strap. Observe any changes in your breath, any changes in your energy or temperature or mindset. Slide your strap down one more time, and you're going to go below bra line and find the very lowest part of your back ribs, down by your kidneys. As you direct your breath into your strap, at your inferior lobes or your low lobes, notice what, if anything, shifts or adjusts, any changes in the depth of your breath, the width. Excellent. And set your strap down. Bring your hands to your lap, and for the next 20 or 30 seconds, let your breath move in its own pattern, own fashion. Notice where it goes. Where does it like to hang out? Now that you're no longer directing the traffic of your prana, where does your breath tend to circulate? Very nice. Okay. Lift your head, open your eyes, and if you've been sitting on a perch, a block, or a chair or stool, come down, set your block to the side, and you have your blanket or your towel rolled up into a tight little burrito or a taquito. I want you to sit facing the left side of your mat so that your roll is to your left. You're going to drape yourself over, coming into what's called lying side stretch in restorative circles. And we're just going to stay for about a minute, maybe 2 minutes on each side, not very long. And, a lot of times in restorative class, we'll have the bolster underneath our waist. But for our purposes today, I'd like you to have this blanket more underneath your ribs. You can keep your knees bent. And if this is uncomfortable on your neck or your jaw or your left shoulder, then by all means, put your block under your head or grab a pillow off your sofa or a chair and put that under your head. You're welcome to sweep your right arm up over your right ear, maybe taking your fingertips to the floor beyond your head, or I like to bend my elbow and reach my right hand behind me and grab the edge of my mat that's behind me. I kind of like that traction, but you'll do what feels best in your body. And if you're new to restorative or this kind of practice using all of these props, I think you'll sense right away the efficacy of draping yourself over the blanket in order to begin slowly increasing the space between your ribs, slowly mobilizing your intercostals with the stretch and with your breath. Great. Let's just take a couple more breaths. Nice. Good. So you can press your right hand into the floor in front of your chin and slowly come up onto your left elbow. Rest your head in your left hand for just a second, kind of reorient. And then you can lift upright, give yourself a 180-degree turn to the right. And then set yourself up, drape yourself over your blanket roll now. So it's supporting your right ribs. Keep your knees bent if you like. You take your left arm over your head if your shoulder gives you that range of motion. If not, don't sweat it. Keep it down at your side. You're still getting the benefit. The emphasis in this shape is on your ribs, not so much shoulder mobility. So go easy on your joints. We're going to stay about another minute. Breathing deep into those bronchioles. All the way out to your alveoli. Feeling that breadth and that expansion with every inhalation that you take. Imagining every breath in is like a little brush of wind against the leaves at the farthest branches. Press your right hand into the floor, come up onto, or sorry, your left hand into the floor. And come up onto your right elbow, rest your head in your right hand just for a moment, just a couple of seconds. And push yourself up and have your block nearby. You might want to use it. We're going to come into a reclining fish pose, Matsyasana. So now you'll do a quarter turn, just a quarter turn to the left. Now you've got your back to the head of your mat. The blanket roll is behind you. Keep your knees bent and your feet on the floor in order to get into this shape. I'm going to have you come down onto your elbows just so you can assess where the blanket's going to support you. You want that blanket at bra line. And then allow yourself, your trunk, to just drape over that blanket and your head to come to the floor beyond your blanket. Now, for some of us, that might be like, I don't care for that on my neck, my throat. If that's the case, lift your head and put your block underneath your head. So much better. So either way, wherever you choose to go, again, the emphasis is on the lungs, the ribs, not so much the neck and the shoulders. So bring yourself into a place of comfort, if possible, through your head and your neck. But your arms are extended out to the side and your shoulders are free of your blanket. So your blanket's really just supporting you at bra line or at the base of your scapula. If you want to take your legs down the length of your mat, that's totally up to you, your call. Wherever you go with your legs, I'm going to ask you to kind of take a deep dive inside, get your little scope, inner scope, and notice how things shift internally. If you lengthen, I don't know if that's even the right way to say it, but I want you to kind of slide your tailbone towards your heels, like you're trying to smooth out pleats in your lower back, and draw your front low ribs in, almost like you're corseting or knitting your front low ribs in. There's a little bit of an engagement through the pit of the abdomen. And just play with that a couple of times, release and let go and allow your front ribs to kind of bust out, kind of like a blowout, and then draw them in, engaging through the front line of your body. And after you've experimented with that contraction and release a couple times, I want you to find this happy middle way where you can draw your low ribs in and you can sustain that. You can sustain your breath while engaging through the pit of your abdomen. And take your breath into your blanket. Feel your ribs expand out to the side. Imagine you're getting as wide as your sticky mat when you inhale. Returning to right size as you exhale. Great. So to exit, I like to roll over to one side. And you can slowly press your hand into the floor, your top hand into the floor, and come on up. Woo-wee. Okay. You can set your strap off to the side. You can set your blanket off to the side. Come into child's pose, balasana, starting slow today. And starting low and taking it slow. If you want to put your blanket underneath your knees, if your mat's on a tile or a hardwood floor, that's fine. You can take your knees a little wider than your hips if you'd like, so your belly can relax towards the floor, and reach your arms forward as you anchor into your hips, dropping hips into heels. Breathing through your side ribs, getting long in your side body. Nice. We're going to sweep Balasana over to the left now. Just your arms, your shoulders, and your trunk are going to arc over to the left. Reach your right hand towards the top left corner of your mat. And take your left fingertips about 4 or 5 inches beyond your left knee and press your left fingertips into the floor with your elbow bent. This will help you to kind of lean into your right hip, lean into your right ribs as you arc out of your right lower back. Good. Slowly migrate your way back to the midline, please. And before we do the other side, I want you to come up onto your hands and your knees. And take your time lifting your trunk up. You can move your spine a little bit if you need to. We're going to come into thread the needle. You're going to take your left arm onto the floor between your right hand and right knee. Walk your right hand forward. So we just established a bit more length through the right side of our trunk with that side bend. Now we can take advantage of that by inching our right fingertips and right hand forward, drawing our outer right hip back. So still enjoying and employing this length along the right side. Oh, and then sweeping left arm onto the floor, left shoulder down, left side of your head down. And here we are in just the tiniest bit of an inversion, right? Hips are over the head. So visualize your lung tree. Imagine you're watering the roots. Good. Walk your right hand onto your mat and press it into your mat in front of your chin so that you can slowly lift up. Withdraw your left arm, bring your left hand to the floor. Oh, good. And then rock back into Balasana, child's pose. Hips to heels, arms reaching forward. Allowing your spine to unfurl and lengthen, and all of the muscles that support your spine. Having an opportunity to yawn and stretch. Let's arc over to the right, sweeping your left hand up towards the right top corner of your mat. Bending your right elbow, set your right fingertips onto the floor about 4 inches from your right knee. Lean into your left hip. Lean into your left ribs. Good. Hey, Rachel. Sweet. Okay. Make your way back to center, please. Slowly rise up onto hands and knees. Now you'll sweep your right arm onto the floor between your left hand, left knee. Walk your left arm forward. Walk your left hand forward. Taking advantage of the length from your left hip crease all the way up to your left fingertips. Great. You can bring your left hand onto the floor. Oh, hello. You with the cape. Come on up. Good. Press yourself up onto hands and knees. Good. Rock into child's pose just one more time. You with the blanket, I see you. Good. One more time in child's pose just to bring everything back to right size. Good. Good. And then upright to hands and knees, please. Just a couple of wrist stretches before we move into downward dog. So one hand at a time, I want you to make like a teepee with your right hand. Let's lift the palm of your hand up and press your fingertips into the floor. And then you're going to spread your fingertips out, stretching the fascia of your palm. And then left hand, draw your fingertips towards one another, lifting your left palm away from the floor, making like a teepee, and then stretch, 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 identifying the four corners of your left palm on the floor. Good. And then one at a time, again, with both arms straight, I want you to lift your right wrist and your right palm up off the mat, but keep your fingers down. So you're really just, you're extending at the root knuckle. So palm up, wrist up, and then set your hand back down. We'll do the left side, keeping your fingers on the floor and your arms straight, lifting your left wrist, left palm up, and then down. Let's do that 2 more times, right side. Notice the difference between the 2 sides. If one has more pliability, one is more resistant, left side. Keeping arms straight. Once more, right side, left side. And now let's do both hands at the same time. Lifting wrist and palms up. Twice more, please. Wrist and palms up. Whew, keeping both arms straight. Let's take a look one more time. Oh, good and beautiful, lovely. You can walk your hands forward a full hand's length, tuck your toes under, prepare for takeoff. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, lifting knees, lifting hips. Good, 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 good. And here we are inverting. Remember the low lobes of your lungs, your inferior lungs, corresponding with earth and water. Visualize, get a felt sense for the strap at your lowest ribs, and breathe. Breathe, breathe. Shift your heels over to the left. Big stretch through your right waist, outer right hip. Yeah, shift your heels over to the right. Good. Come back to center. And however you want to manifest this, bring your right foot forwards. If you want to come to hands and knees first, or sweep your right foot up to the top of your mat and bring your left knee down. Good. Find your balance first and lift yourself upright. Bring your hands behind your back, clasping your fingers together. Drop your knuckles down below your tailbone. And then maybe take your arms up just an inch or 2. We don't have to go, no big shakes, no huge lift here. A slight bend to your elbows is great, totally legal. Yeah, good. A little shoulder extension. Good. Identify which pinky is on the outside, because you're going to do the other pinky on the other side. Where are your ears? Can you get them to line up over your shoulders? It's really tempting to dump the head forward. Yep, good. And then release your hands, bring your hands to the floor. Find your way back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Good, well done. Let that kind of shake out. And then here we go. Second round, left foot comes forward. Take as many steps as you'd like to bring your left foot all the way up to the top of your mat, up to your left hand. Drop your right knee to the floor. And then first just lift yourself up, kind of get your sea legs underneath you, bring your hands behind your back, other pinky on the outside this time, please. Drop your knuckles down below your bum. And this might feel good, just stay right here. If you want to lift your arms up just an inch or two, great, do that. Or maybe bend your elbows a little more. But ultimately, where are your ears? Your ears, shoulders, and hips in the same plane, please. Notice if the head's dumping, if your head is dumping forward. Good, that's great. Beautiful, Maxine. Nice, Sonia. All right, sweet. Good. And release your hands, please. Fingertips to the floor, hands to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Okay, from downward facing dog, please set your right knee down onto the sticky mat. Spin your right foot off to the right, so your right foot will be on the floor. And then spin your left heel down, coming into modified Vashisthasana. Right hand to the floor, left hand to your left hip. Okay, lining up, left foot, right knee, right hand. Sweep your left arm up and over. Let your head kind of drop. Let your right ear drop towards your right shoulder. And I know so often when I teach this, typically when I teach it, I'm like, now strong, straight arm, you know. But this time, go ahead and allow there to be kind of a rainbow effect through your left rib cage. Just let your body arc. Just let your left arm hang over your head. Let your right ear drop towards your right shoulder. Yep, you got it, Stephanie. Yep, good, 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 good. Again, ears, shoulders, and hips in the same plane. Good, squeeze the floor with your left foot. Nice, and then allow your left arm to circle down, bring your left hand to the floor, square yourself, step back, downward facing dog. Take your time in the transition. Okay. And then let's bring left knee down to the floor, please. Spin or pivot on your left knee. Take your left foot behind you. Spin your right heel down. Squeeze the floor with all four corners of your right foot. And then you're going to be on your left hand. You can be on your left fingertips or put a block under your left hand. Your right arm sweeps up and over. Big arc. Big arc from your outer right heel, ankle to your right fingertips. Nice, good. Let your left ear fall towards your left shoulder. Take your head back a little for me. Yeah, very, very nice. Good. Good. And breathe into your right ribs. And breathe into the imaginary strap at your back ribs. Nice. Allow your right arm to circle down, hand to the floor. Square yourself off. Step back to downward facing dog. Well done, yogis. Modified Vashisthasana. Good. So, downward dog. Stay put for another 3 breaths, or if you choose, glide forward to staff pose, Adho Mukha Dandasana, called plank in the Vinyasa culture. Lower yourself down to the mat. This is totally optional. Rise up into a low cobra. Let elbows bend, peeling your head, chin, chest up. Good. Exhale your way back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Good. Great. Now from downward facing dog, using whatever method you'd like to use, bring your right foot up to your right hand, bending your right knee, and spin your left heel down. Leading with your left arm, pull yourself upright to Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Okay. So I want you to keep your right knee moving to the right, your left hip kind of rolling back, although it's not really going to roll back, but just kind of a visual. Arms out, moving through your trunk, your ribs and the skin around your ribs. Sweep your left arm forward. See if you can bring your left fingertips to your right hand and then open up. Inhale. Exhale and sweep your left arm forward, fingertips to your right palm, and inhale, open. Great, twice more for a total of 4. Keep your back legs straight and strong. And keep your hips and pelvis stable. So this movement is truly through your trunk, from your ribs up. But last time, on this 4th time, you're going to sweep your left arm forward. I want you to hold it here. Maybe grab a hold of your left fingertips with your right hand. And wrap your left ribs around towards your sternum. Wrap the skin around your left ribs around towards your sternum. And at the same time, anchor into your left heel. And pour a little more energy into your outer left foot. Great. Good. Open your arms wide, please. Straighten both legs. Pivot your right toes in. And we're going to hinge at our hips and come forward into wide-legged forward bend, Prasarita Padottanasana. Good. Take a second. See that your heels are equal distance from the back of your sticky mat. Excellent. And now sweep your trunk over to your left leg. Big side bend, just kind of like we did in child's pose. You can take your left hand to the outside of your left shin, your right hand on top, or vice versa, maybe your right hand to the shin and use your left hand to kind of anchor it down. Shuffle your hips, just swing your hips a little to the right. Good, and let this arc take place from the top of your right hip crest. Good, cautiously, carefully, slowly sweep yourself through the midline and come over to your right leg. Side bending to the right, good, take your time. Maybe left hand to the outside of your right shin. Both legs straight. Very nice. Now power those femur bones back. Take that left femur bone in particular. That's it, Stephanie. Good. Nice adjustment. Femurs pinning to the wall behind you. Hips a little to the left. Good. Beautiful. Excellent. Come back through center, please. Whoo-wee. And now we're going to make a quarter turn to the right. Spin your right toes to the top of the sticky mat and come up onto the ball of your back foot. So you're into a high lunge. With your left fingertips to the floor, inhale, sweep your right arm up. Good. Excellent. Bring your right fingertips to the floor once again, please, and set your back knee down. There's 2 more shapes on this side. Lift yourself up. Bring your arms out front, bending your elbows. Bring your left elbow underneath your right elbow and spin your forearms together for Garuda. Eagle arms. Pressing your elbows forward and pressing your forearms forward. Allow your chin to drop down towards your chest. Navigate your breath into your back ribs, into your middle lobes and your lower lobes. Excellent. Unravel your arms, please. Bring your right hand to your right knee and sweep your left arm straight up. Big breath. We're going to come into a twist. As you exhale, bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee and either palms together in Namaskar Mudra. Make a fist with your right hand maybe and just cup it in your left palm. And if you want to pop your back knee up, that's okay, but I'm going to invite you to keep your back knee down so that the emphasis of this twist is more about mobilizing our spine, mobilizing our ribs, the skin around our ribs, more so than trying to achieve balance or strength. Purposes for this class anyway. Draw your right shoulder back, Maybe your right scapula comes towards your spine and might even migrate down your back a little bit towards your back pocket. And then wrap that left rib basket around towards your right leg. Woo, good. Okie dokie, unwind, hands to the floor. Let your spine uncoil, step back, downward facing dog, please. Find that inversion, bringing the earth and water element from your low lungs. And then stepping your left foot forward, however you'd like to get it there. Taking that earth and water element and watering the roots of your tree, your lung tree. Okie dokie, so spin your right heel down. And here we go, you're gonna rise up into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Find the shape and really stabilize, really get rooted through your legs. This is the stira of the Stira Sukham that is so often quoted from the Yoga Sutra. Hips, pelvis, legs, powerful. And then when you exhale, sweep your right arm forward, maybe tap your left palm, and then inhale, open. So the move is really just your trunk. Exhale, close. Oh, good. And inhale, open. Twice more, please. Good, open and close. Once more, good. And then when you close this fourth time, bring your right fingertips to your left hand, and maybe you can curl your left fingers around your right fingers and just try to hold your arm there. Okay, build this from the ground up, pour a little more energy into your outer right foot, fire up your right leg. Good, and then your right ribs, wrap them forward. Feel the skin around your right ribs moving. Good, 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 good. Beautiful. Open up, please. Straighten your left leg, both legs straight, and turn your left toes a quarter turn to the right. Let's come into wide-legged forward bend, hinging at the hips. Come on down. Pausing just long enough to address the feet are equal distance from the back of the sticky mat. And now we've done our side bend on the previous side. Now we're going to come into a twist. We're following the same pattern of child's pose that we established at the beginning of the class. Walk your left fingertips forward, left arm forward, straight out in front of you. Sweep your right hand across your body, taking your right hand to the outside of your left shin. Now notice how your right knee wants to buckle a bit, your right hip wants to sink a little bit. I want you to fire up your right leg, push your femurs to the wall behind you. Keep your legs and hips stable and let this movement really turn and churn you through your ribs. Good, look underneath your left arm. Great, spin, spin, spin. Wonderful. Ooh, good, good, good. Okay, slowly let yourself unravel out of that side. Give yourself an opportunity to take a breath. Here we go, second side. Walk your right fingertips forward, lengthening your arm, lengthening your right waist, and then sweep your left hand across, taking your left hand to your outer right shin, oh, maybe ankle, but, and then begin your turn. Turn, 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 turn. Look under your right arm. Notice if your hips kind of swiveled. Swing your hips a tiny bit to the left. Yeah, terrific, everybody. That tiny little move. Good deal, good. Good, mobilize your ribs in order to liberate your lungs. Wonderful. All right, relax. Whew, fingertips to the floor. Okay, take a quarter turn to the top of your sticky mat, please. Good. So stay on your right fingertips when you breathe in. Sweep your left arm up. Good. Reaching left fingertips to the ceiling. Good. Imagining your left hand being extension of your lung tree. Just spread your fingers. Spread your twigs and branches and leaves wide. Excellent. Good. Set your left hand back to the floor, please. Good. And bring your back knee down. That's your right knee down. Good. Lift yourself up, elbows bent, arms in front. You're going to take your right arm under your left arm this time for Garuda. Good. Press your elbows and forearms forward and invite your chin to gently drop towards your chest. And you can unravel your arm, set your left hand on your left knee, sweep your right arm up. And then you're going to bring your right elbow to the outside of your left knee, coming into prayer twist. Good. Anything goes with your hands. Prayer hands, make a fist. Good. Draw your left shoulder back. Yeah, good. Take your head back a little bit. There it is, Lisa. Beautiful. Good. Mm. Good. Enliven your skin around your ribs. Waking up fascia. Great. Unravel. Bring your hands to the floor. Step back. Downward dog. Take your time. And then I want to give you an option. Either stay in downward facing dog or keep your knees and hips up, but just come down onto your forearms. So you're in forearm dog or dolphin pose, it's called. If your shoulders approve and give you that, go for it. Forearms down. Good. Hips up high. And whichever of these inversions you're taking, bring that imaginary strap to your low back again. Well, not your low back, I'm sorry, your lowest ribs. And pull your breath there. And take 2 more breaths, please. Come down onto your knees. Set your feet to one side. Swing your feet to one side so you can have a seat on your bum. Optional, but I'm going to use my blanket behind me to sit on the edge of my blanket. And then coming into Sukhasana, this easy cross-legged pose. Bring your left fingertips to the floor out beyond your left hip. Sweeping your right arm up and over, side bend over to the left. Using your left arm like a kickstand, so you don't collapse into the shape. And always being mindful of this plumb line along your ears, shoulders, and your hips. Good. When you're ready to take your next breath in, you're going to pull yourself upright, bring your left arm up to meet your right arm. And then when you exhale, you'll bring your right fingertips to the floor. And here we are, side bending over to the right. And I want you to notice, particularly those of you who have more of a Gumby type spine, more of a hypermobile spine. Notice if your lower back, if the arch in your low back is being over exaggerated a bit. And to counter that, I'm going to have you draw your belly in, particularly the pit of your abdomen. And just notice what, if anything, changes when you make that little shift. Great. So on an in breath, when you're ready, you're going to spring up off of your right fingertips so you can bring your right arm up to meet your left arm, after which you'll float both arms down to your sides. Coming into reverse tabletop next, you'll bend your knees, set your feet onto the floor about sitting bone distance apart, so maybe about 6 inches apart. Bring your hands behind you. Now, classically, this is taught with your fingers pointing towards your bum, but you do you. If that's a screamer on your wrists, I'm going to take my fingers out to the sides. So when you're ready, anchor down into the 4 corners of your feet as well as the 4 corners of your palms. And then you're going to slowly begin to lift your hips, lift your belly, lift your ribs and your sternum. Now you can keep your eyes looking down beyond your knees. If your neck gives you approval, you can take your head back and look to your ceiling. Slowly come down, please. Returning to your perch on your blanket if you're using one. I'm going to have you drop your right knee down to the floor and pull your right knee towards your blanket. Bring your left foot in a little closer. We're going to come into a twist, but I want to do an open twist. Typically, we would turn to the left here. What I want you to do is bring your right fingertips to the floor behind you. And again, you're going to use your right arm like a kickstand to keep your spine elevated and moving along the vertical line. Your left arm is going to come in front of your left knee. And I want you to push your left knee into your arm and at the same time push back a little bit. So you get like a little push-pull, just a little leverage there. And then your left hand can take a hold of your right leg or maybe your left toes or maybe nothing at all. And again, just still emphasizing this movement of mobilizing the ribs. Kind of wrapping your right rib cage to the left towards your spine behind you and wrapping your left rib cage around towards your sternum. Turn your head and look out over your left shoulder, please. Very nice. Good. Oh, relax out of that. Pull your right knee up, please. Set your foot to the floor and then drop your left knee down. So do that open twist on the other side. Left fingertips can come to the floor behind you. Your right arm sweeps in front, just to the inside of your right knee, and establish that relationship first, that push-pull relationship. Find that tension, not too tight, not too loose. And then, we begin our turn. Looking out beyond our right shoulder. Find the 4 corners of your right foot. Notice if you're getting a little light at the mound of your right big toe. Stamp down. Great. And begin to unravel and unwind. Good. Bring your both feet to the floor out in front of you, and we're going to do this reverse tabletop or Purvottanasana once more. I want to give you an option, either keeping your knees bent as we did previously, or take your legs straight. And here we go, lifting up. Reach your big toes towards the floor. And 5 breaths, wherever you go, knees bent or legs straight. Good, that's 2. That's great, Delinda, awesome. And 3, nice, good. Everybody, up, up, up. 4. 1 more breath, good, brother. Good, lift, lift, lift. Sternum up. Excellent, slowly come down. Ooh la la. Okay, now, one more thing. Grab your strap again, please. Bring it behind you. And let's find this. One more time, take your strap up high, right underneath your armpits. Not too tight, not too loose. 3 breaths. Isolating your breath as best you can into your strap. Now slide your strap down to bra line then, 3 breaths. Don't rush. When you're ready, last 3 breaths, taking your strap low. Find the tip of your lungs, the base of your lungs, right there at the very lowest ribs. And 3 breaths into your strap there. And how does your breath change? Looking at the lungs from 2 very different perspectives, either from the elemental perspective, where the base of the lungs corresponds with earth and water, finding that slow, steady respiratory rhythm. Or looking at the lungs as an inverted tree and breathing into the outermost, uppermost branches and leaves. You can release your strap. Set your strap to the side, and this is where your ottoman or your chair is going to come into the picture. And this is, I mean, everything, of course, is always optional, but for the purposes of our class, I would love for you to try this. This is where we're going to go for Shavasana. So you'll bring your chair or your ottoman or your cushion to the foot of your mat. Oops. And then I'm going to open my blanket up. So I've got a little more cush. And you're going to want your block. Come down onto your back and sweep your feet and your calves up onto the seat of your chair or your ottoman or your sofa or whatever it is you're using. And then you can take your block and slide it underneath your bum, underneath your sacrum. Great. So we get this nice little cascade effect of blood and lymph fluid coming from the lower extremities down into the pool of the pelvis. But it doesn't stop there. It keeps slowly cascading into the breast tissue, the armpits, the nodes, lymph nodes of our neck and throat and jaw. As you get yourself situated, you can think about, you give a little bit of thought to, breathing into those upper lobes of our lungs, particularly if there's anxiety present, maybe some panic present, just like stress. How about just plain stress, daily stress present? And if we're just circulating the breath in the upper lobes, then our lower lobes are holding on to stagnant gases, stagnant funk. So there's a nice opportunity. The lungs are so porous. And this subtle inversion offers a lovely opportunity to begin kind of turning over the low lobes of the lungs, and saturating the upper lobes with blood. As usual, if the pose is not comfortable for you, if you cannot get out of discomfort, get out of the pose and find the shape that is more appropriate for your body on this day. So before you begin manipulating anything to a great extent, just simply check in with your breath. Identify your own breath print as you lie here, relaxed and at ease. And then I'll have you lift your hips just enough to slide the block out from underneath you. And slowly bring your spine to the floor. Tailbone down to the floor. And then before we move to come up, just take one more moment, a couple of breaths to actively manipulate, move your breath around your body, circulate your breath into your low ribs, your low lobes, circulate your breath into your back body, feel your ribs gently pressurize against your blanket. Get a felt sense of your ribs expanding out to the side, taking up even more space. Don't be stingy. Take up as much space on your mat as you can as you inhale, broadening your ribs, creating ever more space for your lungs. Using your breath, your prana to, in a sense, foliate your lung tree. From root to branches, from root to leaves, from root to buds. And then you can begin moving your hands and your feet, maybe stretch through your arms and your legs if that feels comfortable for you, and identify what your pathway to sitting is going to look like. Or if you're going to come up at all, you might want to just stay on the floor. That's fine. And then pull yourself upright if you're going to continue to move with us, and find a seat, whether that's on the floor or blanket block, or scoot up onto your chair if you'd like. We'll finish with this sweet little chant, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I think chanting is a really nice way to start a pranayama practice. It's a nice way to start a pranayama practice, I think. So you don't have to sing along. I'll do it 3 times and you can join if you'd like. Bring your hands to your heart. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Just a very simple, beautiful chant or prayer. Translated as, I'm offering everything, all the fruits of my actions. I'm offering everything up to God. So okay, take a breath in. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. A deep bow to the deep reverential bow to the creator of the universe, offering the fruits of our actions up to a higher good. The intention behind this chant, this blessing, is to see the good, see the God, see the good orderly direction, see the divine in everything and everyone. Everything and everyone. Bring your hands up to your forehead, please. Base of your thumbs to your third eye. And may the peace and the tolerance that we generate for ourselves on the mat bring peace and tolerance to our minds. Bring your fingertips down to your lips. May the peace and the tolerance that we generate for ourselves on the mat, bring peace and tolerance to our words. And finally, your hands to your heart. The peace and the tolerance that we generate on our mats, on the screen together in this virtual community. May they bring peace and tolerance into our hearts. Thank you for joining me.